Hi there, this is Aage again from Broadcast Team Alpha coming to you. I got a question for you. Could the Great Sphinx of Egypt be as much as 800,000 years old? You determine that for yourself after you hear what I'm going to tell you. Everybody knows about the Great Sphinx in Egypt, but do we really? We find there are other places in the world where there are also stone formations that has great likeness to the Sphinx in Egypt. But there is a difference. These other stone formations they look much older, much wore out, and they look like they maybe have been manipulated some. The question is, who created these? It appears as there is an intelligent civilization in our distant past with a technology far ahead of what we may even have today. So who were they? Well, first we must determine when the Sphinx were built, and then look at who were around at that time. The official story put out by the Antiquities of Egypt and other paid archaeologists around the world, it does not come out because they don't dare to challenge the official story. This so-called evidence they give us does not fly if we start looking a little deeper into it. Let's look at that for a moment. There is water damage from water runoff from the top of the Sphinx going down the sides of it. But there hasn't been any rain that could create that in Egypt for at least 30,000 years. There is also clear evidence that the Sphinx were partially flooded and submerged. There are evidence of inundating depressions and cavities and erosion going up the side of the lower portion of the Sphinx on both sides. These cavities are similar to stone structures being submerged in water. The ocean or lakes over a long period of time. Deeper investigations and comparisons of the lower portion of the Sphinx show that the erosion and the rock complex may have been damaged by the sand and wave energy of water. The Sphinx history is shrouded in mystery because no one dares to speak about these anomalies, and the time reasons for those anomalies. If someone breaks against the mainstream paradigm and start talking a different story, they lose funding, they lose their jobs, and they are pushed out into the fringes of archaeology and ignored, so nobody dares to. But there is a few that have the courage to speak. A few years ago, two Ukrainian researchers came to the conclusion that the Sphinx may be a lot older than anyone have ever thought, possibly as much as 800,000 years. These are the scientists. Their names are Manshi. I don't speak Russian, so I know I'm going to butch this one. Manchinev, Vyacheslav, and Alexander Parkomenko. They are at the Institute of Geography of the National Academy of Science in Ukraine. And their research started by looking into old writings, records, and artifacts of much older civilizations than what we have been told of the mainstream approved recorded history in Egypt. And that tells a totally different story. They started to investigate the water erosion and the matching these findings with geological time and what happened at those times when it would be possible for the erosion to happen. Nothing fits unless they started to backdate the age of the Sphinx. By looking at it through geological and scientific spectrums, matching it with the geological time of possibility for being submerged, they find something very interesting. There are ancient geological records showing large freshwater lakes in the area along the Nile and reaching into the Sahara Desert in the times of Quaternary, from the lower Pleistocenic to the Holocene era. And that is explained by the Ukrainian scientists. The Ukrainian scientists also claim that if we look at all of the evidence not spoken of, it places the Sphinx in history possibly back about 800,000 years. Earth has a bad track record of maintaining continuance in civilizations. We know there have been about 6 civilizations on Earth that has been destroyed, either by wars or calamities or geological changes or other things. Could it be that those who were back then were the pyramid builders? If you start researching that, you will find out how badly we have been lied to. Think of it. If you think mainstream news is bad now, imagine what history is. At least half of it are lies, and we don't know which half. All of this, that changes the story. So send this to your friends, the ones who have at least one toe out of the box. If this sounded interesting to you and you like what you have heard, please subscribe and click the bell next to it so you get notified of the next video or show coming up. So we see you in the next video.